So the jury delivered their decision in the case of where the plaintiffs and their attorney brought suit against the National Association of Realtors and Keller Williams and Home Services in the state of Missouri. This is Jason, eXp Realty, here in Aurora, Colorado. I wanted to go over my perspective on all of this. The full video, I'll have a link down below to YouTube. I'll break it up in parts so I can share it on all the social media platforms. But there's definitely 5 particular areas here. The first one is most importantly as to how did this come about? How did they win this settlement? How did the industry get themselves in this position? There's 2 policies that were in place that allowed them to win this case. One, as an agent, when you decide to become an agent, you have to become part of a brokerage firm. You can't go independent initially. You have to have experience and all that before you can start a firm. So that's where you hang your license. You go through everything you need to do to hang your license at a brokerage firm. Every brokerage firm has their policies and procedures. Within that is their commission splits. It may be as an agent, you join the firm, you get 100% of your of that commission, 80-20, 50-50, 25-75, whatever it might be that's written in their policies and procedures. Along with that are other fees that you'll pay that brokerage firm, risk fees, errors and omission insurance, variety of different things to pay that may or may not be included in that commission split. The detail subset of that commission split is if you get a listing and you sign them on, there is a minimum fee to provide to a cooperative brokerage firm. That language right there that's in all these policies and procedures is looked at. Price fixing is looked at as to everybody colluded together to provide that fee and force these sellers to pay a buyer's agent, buyer's brokerage firm that fee. Even though the agreement, if you look at the document, the agency agreement, the top line says you agree to pay this brokerage firm 6%, let's say as an example. That's to sell your home, 6%. Subset of that in the same agreement is, hey, just as an FYI to you, we pay of that 6%, we'll pay to 2%, 2.5%, 2.8%, 3%, whatever it might be, to a cooperative brokerage firm for helping sell your home. Sure, you may feel as a seller you were forced to make that payment, whatever it might be, but because that was documented that way, they have a case. Subsequent to that is you can join a board. The National Association of Realtors is the national board. There's state boards underneath that, and then local boards underneath that. They control the local MLS. Well, there's a fee to join the board and requirements underneath that to be called a realtor. There's a fee to join that local MLS. When you go to input that listing, that home for sale, all the attributes of it, there was one line in the MLS input that was for the cooperative brokerage firm fee, that you are marketing this to all the brokers out there that, hey, if you help me sell this home, you'll get 2%, 2.5, 2.8, whatever the fee might be, percent to do that. That was a required field in the MLS, and it could not be zero. It had to have a value in it. Well, with your brokerage firm's rules, the MLS happened to have that. They all colluded. Judgment. Pay your fee. That is how they won that jury decision. Part 2, again, this is Jason going over my perspective on the settlement that happened with the National Association of Realtors, Keller Williams, Home Services in Missouri with all the sellers in the class action lawsuit. Part 2 to this, again, the full video links down below for the YouTube for the full long video there. Home values. How's this going to affect home values? So right now, the MLS is the warehouse of all of this data across the whole country. Every local area has an MLS, and every agent is required to put that information in there. It is 99, 95, most of all transactions that happen in real estate happen in the MLS. New home sales may or may not be there. For sale by owners may or not be there, but It's what everybody uses to determine a value on a house. When you see the reporters say home values have gone up X, Y, and Z amount, when they say the average home price is XYZ, when they say home stays on the market for takes this amount of time to sell a home, that is all based out of the MLS. Zillow uses that data. Realtor.com has that data. Every website you use that gives any type of information on home values, the source is the MLS. So it is good that that's controlled. It is not open to the public. You do need to be an agent. You do need to be part of a brokerage firm. You do need to pay the fees to have access to that. However, not all the data is there when a home sells. So yeah, we put in all the information here to market. It's a marketing machine. Get it out to everybody that needs to get out to try to get exposure to that home to help you sell your home. We use it for the value. So when I sit down with you to say, hey, how much do you think you could sell your house for? Here's the printout of all the competition in the area. Homes that are currently listed for sale, homes that have recently gone under contract, homes that have sold. Here's ones that are similar in size and features and attributes to yours. A piece of that attribute is how much those sellers were willing to pay their buyer's agents, buyer brokerage firms. That is a piece of marketing out there. So if you say one house sold, my neighbor's house sold for $400,000, so my home's worth $400,000. Well, within that is that they paid 2.8% to a buyer's agent to get that value. They right now it's not disclosed in the MLS what that listing agent fee was. That could be from 0 to 6% in addition to that 2.8. That is not disclosed right now. Will it be? Maybe. But also within that value is a concession. Sellers may offer a concession. In the market right now, almost every seller is offering concession to help the buyers buy down their rate. Again, this is incentivizing, hey, come buy my house because I want, to provide this extra value. Sure, I've listed it at $400,000, but I'm willing to give you $5,000, $10,000 towards your concession. Well, my net sales price now is $390, $395, depending on what that concession is. That I don't believe Zillow, Realtor.com, and them have picked that up. But that is in the MLS. So again, you got to look at the value. What is the value of my home? Hey, my neighbor across the street sold theirs for $375. This neighbor sold it for $400,000. This guy for $410. What's the true value of my house? I don't want to look at the $375. That makes my house seem less than it really when I think that it is. So again, that's going to cause some confusion here. And I suggest you work with an agent to dig into the details, to have those conversations, talk to those listing agents, find out the scenarios in there. Want to hire an attorney to do that? They're not going to be able to help you with that. Number 3, again, this is Jason giving my perspective over the jury verdict that just came out on the case in Missouri. The sellers and attorney going against Keller Williams Home Services and the National Association of Realtors. So the third perspective, how is this going to impact sellers? So as I just alluded to before is how much can I sell my house for? You really need to look at the process of selling your home. There's always been a variety of ways to do that. You could try to sell it on your own. Truly for sale by owner, there's websites out there you can list your home. You can do social media, Craigslist, all of those services to try to sell stuff. You can put your home out there. The idea of trying to market your home is to get it in front of as many people as possible. For sale by owner is a way to do that. You can go through a discount broker. They'll at least get it into the MLS. But previously, again, in the MLS, there was a requirement you had to put a buyer brokerage firm, how much you're willing to pay them for that. Well, that has gone. It's not required anymore. But will you be able to see that, hey, these other homes in my area did offer that? So while they got their $400,000 for that price, they paid 2.8%, 3% to a buyer agent firm. So was that really their true value? Sure, you can try to put your home out there on the market for $400,000, but because you're not paying a buyer brokerage fee, will you really get that price? Don't know. Time will tell as to if that works out that way. Again, it's trying to get that competitive putting yourself in a place to get to the most eyeballs and the best marketing you can do to get your home sold. I suggest you hire a listing agent. A listing agent, we're going to charge you a fee for that. Generally, again, at 6%. Generally, part of that gets passed along to the buyer brokerage firm. Again, all in the hope of getting you to sell your house for the most amount possible. And me as a listing agent, I want you to get the most amount possible. And we go through a calculation of what you will net due to all these fees, your closing fees, your taxes, property tax fees, and obviously the real estate fees. So we got to have that conversation, what you could sell it for and what you're going to net. So what is the true value of your home? What are you going to use to get that value of your home? Your value of your home is what somebody is willing to pay for it. Part 3, or what was I in? No, I forgot where I was. That was part 3. Part 4. Now for the buyer side, what's going to be the impact to the buyers? This is to play out. So right now, I have not come across a listing sellers that have said they are not going to provide a compensation to the buyer's brokerage company. I'm sure that's coming with this settlement. There, people are going to think, "Oh, I can sell my home for $400,000 and not have to pay a buyer brokerage fee." Sure. Now, when you get to the buyer side, me as a buyer, typically first-time home buyer, maybe second-time home buyer, they go out to see what loan amount, what purchase amount can I get approved for? Here's the loan amount based on my credit profile, my income, my down payment amount now says here's my purchase price. So let's say I can qualify for a loan and with my down payment get to a $400,000 home. So you go out, look online, Zillow, Realtor.com, what homes are out there for $400,000, and you'll see obviously a variety there. Stuff under $400,000. What do you want to go look at? Do you want to call those listing agents, for sale by owners, and go around and set all that up yourself and look at those homes and try to come to a decision to which one you want to go after. Sure, you don't want to hire a buyer's agent. You don't want to pay that fee. You come up to a seller that doesn't want to pay that fee. It's $400,000. Hey, you're not paying a buyer's agent fee. I'm going to reduce my offer then, because I'm a buyer that is making it easier for you to do this. So instead of $400,000, I'm going to offer you $390, let's say. Because, hey, your competitors, I see that they have sold their home for $400,000, but they had to pay a buyer agent fee. And you don't, because I'm not represented. So I want a deal. So I'm not going to pay you $400,000. I'm going to pay you less. How are you going to handle that conversation? So now as a buyer, you hire an agent, which again, I think most people would recommend that you have an agent unless you've done a high number of real estate transactions yourself. You hire an agent, you have that conversation with the agent. They say, yeah, my fee is 3%. It may be paid by a seller. It may not. Portion of it may be paid by a seller. Maybe not. I ask of you and my agency agreement is, yeah, my fee is 3%. I'm going to try to get the seller to pay some or all of it. If they don't, you'll be on the hook to pay the difference. Now that takes into account into your approval amount, is to say, okay, well, now I'm not approved to buy at $400,000, or my purchase price isn't going to be $400,000. I need to reduce that by this 3% buyer agent fee. So now I can only offer $388 because I have to take that 3% off. So what can I buy for $388? Oh, look, there are some homes out here for $388, but look, they're offering to pay a buyer agent commission. I can up that now. Oh, look, these guys are listed at $400, but they're not offering to pay a buyer agent fee, so my offer is $388. Again, what's the true value of that home? This is what all is going to come out through all these lawsuits that are happening, is to When you get down to that specific situation, that buyer's need, that seller's need, coming together to successfully have a transaction happen, the more parties you have involved representing you, representing the transaction is really better. You'll have the seller brokerage firm, seller's agent, buyer, lender, buyer agent firm, and buyer's agent. All those are all about trying to make this a successful transaction. Everybody, again, in the transactions I've been involved with, I've been very pleased with the situation and how it's come out. Will that continue to happen? I would assume so, because people want to buy a home, people want to sell their home, and want to do what you can to get that accomplished. Part 5. So this is around the dollar amount of this settlement and what's going to happen with it. So I've seen other pundits out there saying, or other people share their perspective that, yeah, why should I pay the buyer brokerage firm, buyer's agent to sell my home when I didn't hire them, don't know who they are, never met them, never will meet them, if they're not worth their fee. True. When you sign your listing agreement with your agent, nobody knows who that's going to be. It's a marketing way to help get your home sold. Similarly, where they say there's no other transactions that you pay for somebody that you didn't hire, lawsuits in particular come to mind, is to, when there is a lawsuit that happens, plaintiffs start the process, they hire an attorney, they think they can win a case, they're going after somebody. And then whoever they're going after hires an attorney, whoever wins doesn't have to pay their attorney fees. The loser pays. That's a very adversarial situation, but it is a situation in which you're paying for a service provider that you did not hire and you didn't want to pay, but because of the process and what happened, the attorney couldn't win the case or your case wasn't winnable, you have to pay. This lawsuit in particular, the National Association of Realtors, Keller Williams Home Services, they have been told they have to pay this huge settlement, and part of that is paying for the plaintiff's attorney. This guy is going to get wealthy if it ever pays out, and now he's going after the bigger fish. So I find it quite interesting that they say this attorney is saying, hey, why should you pay for a service provider you did not hire? Well, you as an attorney are being paid by somebody that didn't hire you. Secondly, with this big settlement, how much is really going to these plaintiffs? Are they going to get 50% of it? What's their split? And then are they going to trickle that down? How far down the line is this going to go? They sold a home. Sure, they paid an agent they didn't want to pay. When they bought the home, they bought it from a seller who paid that buyer's agent fee. Are they going to refund that money? How many transactions down the road into the past is this going to go? Or is it just, hey, I'm the plaintiff, I paid a fee I shouldn't have to have paid, it's buck stops with me? Well, you got the benefit when you bought the home. How do you not continue to pay that down the road? So it's okay for you to get the benefit when you bought it, but now that you have this settlement, you can't pass that along. Who knows how that's going to play out, where that's going to go? Because now they have these national suits that this attorney has filed on behalf of, he's going to go out and gather as many sellers as he can to make this as big a class action lawsuit as he can, because for him, he is going to get wealthy, beyond wealthy, if these judgments ever get paid out. I think that will wrap them up in the courts forever. They're going to continue to push it down the road to say, yeah, we've made our changes. The rules have changed. Every brokerage firm has changed their policies. Every MLS has changed their policy. Nothing is required anymore. It's going to come out as the natural market forces are, which I think is correct. The interesting perspective I haven't seen about it is new builders. So if people bought a home and never moved again, we'd all be reliant on a new home builders. New home builders have their own contracts. They have their own attorneys. Everything is in the builder's favor. Where outside of that, every state has their board, and every contract use is that state board approved. If you watch home builders' commissions that they pay buyers agents, they fluctuate depending on the market. When we were in COVID and the buyer demand was through the roof, buyers reduced the amount that they were paying to buyers agents because they're like, hey, we could sell this home with or without you, no big deal. Sure, if you can bring a buyer, we'll give you 1%. Now that the rates are so high and they can't have buyers are not showing up to buy their homes, not only are they offering great incentives on their mortgages, if you use their mortgage company, they're up to 3% they'll offer a buyer's agent because they're desperate to get people to buy their homes. So they're doing any type of incentive payments, whatever they can do to get buyers to their homes. Now, does that seem odd that that a builder, new home builder, would pay an agent they don't have any relationship with, don't know who they are, to help them sell their home? Will that practice change? I doubt it. They're in the market to sell those homes. They're going to do whatever they can to sell those homes. It's baked in the price of those homes. And there's no oversight of them from a state board. From a contracts perspective, they're going to do what they can to sell those homes. So anyway, that's my perspective. Long video again. I'll slice this up to get it out onto social media and to digestible links to get my perspective out. Again, I'm one agent in one region of this whole United States as to how we got here, what's going to happen out of this. I think it'll take some time. There will be one change has happened already. All those policies and procedures have been rewritten with that requirement removed. MLSs have removed that as a required field. Right change, we'll move forward from there. Now it's still going to be, how do we help sellers sell their homes? How do we help buyers buy a home? Can you do it without an agent? Definitely. Will it be easier, smoother with an agent? I believe it would be, but that will be up to your opinion. Again, any questions on this, please reach out. I'm here to have that conversation. I love talking real estate and your situation and helping you make the next step.